It's on vinyl and vision.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of Vinyl and Vision. This is episode 43 with my very special guest, Brandon Perras-Sanchez. I love Brandon. Brandon I've known for a very long time. He's a super cool dude here living in the state and very talented individual. He is the co-director, co-writer, and even star of the film Death Drop Gorgeous. And I believe something is coming, but I have not had any confirmation of that yet, so I am not at will to disclose. But that film will be coming up for viewing somewhere soon. I know it. So look for that. Follow them on their social medias, and that way you will be able to hear the announcement as soon as it's made. And otherwise, for right now, we will be talking about that film on this show, and also talking about Sonic Youth's experimental Jet Set Trash and No Star. It's the album that Brandon chose. And yeah, it was kind of interesting to speak with a filmmaker to find out if there is a correlation between, musical influence on any other type of art aside from being a musician. Now, Brandon is also a great musician. He's probably most notably known for his work in the band from Providence, Tinsel Teeth. Right now, you're going to be watching and listening to the trailer for Death Drop Gorgeous. The movie's super cool. It's such a great, fun movie, especially if you're into, slasher horror films with a very light and fun and funny kind of dark comedy aspect to it. I encourage you all to go see that as soon as it's available. And like I said, go follow them on the social medias, and you will hear when and where it will be available, which I know will be coming soon. So in addition to those things, Brandon actually just this week released a music video which he created for the band Anxious Waves for their song Complex Needs. And I will also be linking that in the show notes, so go there for that link to find that video on YouTube and watch it because it's great. I'm going to make this intro very short so that you guys can get right into the show because it's a little lengthy, and I want you guys to get all of that. I encourage you to do all the things you do with the internet, please. Like, share, subscribe to the show here, comment if you like, if you will, and rate and review, please, if you can, because that's always encouraged and always appreciated. I thank you very much. Enjoy the show.
Nice.
So what's been going on, man? I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, not much. Just been working a lot. Started working on a new movie project. So we've been trying to get that stuff done.
I saw something about it. Yeah. What is it called? Are you okay to disclose that?
Oh yeah, it's called Saint Drogo.
Saint Drogo.
It's like it's a lot darker than Death Drop is. Death Drop was pretty campy and more like a dark comedy. This one's definitely more like a thriller, like supernatural horror kind of thing.
Wow. Okay. And are you responsible for writing it as well?
Yeah, I covered it with the same people from Death Drop.
Okay. So the whole same crew, same directors, writers, producers.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Thank you for sending me the movie, by the way. It was great.
Oh, anytime. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, well, I'm just sorry that I missed out on all the showings because you had been selected for so many festivals and all this stuff like in this past year, and I missed like everything.
Oh, it's okay. It's tricky. It's hard. Sometimes those like the programs, like when the festivals are showing them on a digital format, some of those apps are really weird to get to. Anyways, it's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
A lot of them were using Zerb TV, which was great, but they're kind of like a newer platform, and a lot of the devices like the digital TVs and the Rokus and stuff don't have that app on there, so it's kind of hard to view it. So it'll get on something soon that's like a little bit more easy to look at.
Yeah. Or what do you have like planned in the near future for that? Because I know it's not showing anywhere right now, right?
Yeah, nowhere right now. We're kind of actually like I'm talking to a couple people right now about possible distribution and possible streaming platforms. So nothing concrete yet, but hopefully soon.
So yeah, I wanted to ask you a couple things. Like, did you move from Vermont?
I did. So I actually moved down with Brent and everybody. So we moved down in around like 2003.
Yeah.
So me, Brent, his girlfriend at the time, Irene, our friend Dave, who's from Revere, Mass. You know Dave, from Tinsel Teeth,
What's his last name?
Pignon.
Pignon. Okay, I didn't want to say it wrong, but yeah, Pignon.
And then a couple other friends, and then Daryl ended up moving down here too. It was like a big exodus from Burlington.
Yeah, right. That's cool though that you all kind of like came together. So it's like you all had each
Yeah.
other here, you know, the support.
Well, we were all like pretty invested in the music scene up there, and like all the venues just kind of started shutting down. Like UVM put on this big medical unit, and it kind of jacked up the rent on everything. So like it totally changed the whole city. Venues closed down. A lot of local like musicians and artists all vacated. So it got to the point where like we didn't want to pay the money to live there. There was nothing going on, and we just like our friend was like, "Why don't you guys check out Providence?" I didn't even heard about Providence. And we came and checked it out and fell in love with it because we were all thinking Boston, but yeah, we ended up coming here instead.
Yeah, much better move than Boston.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Hey man, I gotta say, I appreciate what you do because you started like a blog, like doing reviews and like write-ups on bands you like.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I have a little Instagram, like So the whole point of it is I'm trying to like create like a little database for like sounding bands and to get people to like listen to like older stuff and newer stuff. So I have like a little hashtag database in there for like the genre and band like sounding bands. So you click on them, it'll pull up other bands that sound like those bands and kind of get the word out there because there's just so much good stuff out there. It's impossible to keep track of it all.
Right. Yeah. But so you only focus on like the same style of music, like it's like a specific genre.
Like I'm kind of all over the place. Yeah, that's that little Instagram I have. It's yeah, it's got everything from like 70s R&B to like to country to noise rock to noise black metal, noise metal, kind of all over the place.
Yeah. How do you choose like what you decide to review?
um, Whatever I'm listening to for that day or that week, I'll just it's kind of random.
No, I mean that's cool. I mean, like it's obviously like a passion project thing. It's like no one submits anything to you and asks you to do reviews, right? You just kind of.
So some people have. So I do get some submissions.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so I used to write for Bearded Gentleman Music.
Oh,
So I did reviews for them for a long time. And I did my top list for them for this year too. And Hammer Party was on there. But I haven't written for them in a long time. I've just been so busy with the movie stuff. I'd like to get back into reviewing stuff. It's fun.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of the movie stuff, so you're going to be doing the lead in this new movie.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a great job in Death Drop Gorgeous. Like, I love your character. I love how you portrayed them, and you just did a really good job. You're very natural on camera. Have you had any previous acting experience?
Nah.
That's it. You're just like, I can do this, sure. Yeah.
Just like some little stupid things here and there, but nothing serious. But
right. Well, that was a big, attempt for your first shot at acting.
Oh, thank you.
Having a major role like that and like being such a key figure in the whole plot line.
Oh, thank you. That character is based on like a couple old bosses I've had in Providence, so
Yeah.
I kind of owe them for that, for being terrible bosses.
So, all right, you helped write that movie as well as direct it. So I'm going to ask you about that character.
Yeah.
What's his name? Tony Two Fingers.
Yeah.
Tony Two Fingers. So, backstory of Tony. Why does he only have two fingers?
It's kind of just like a silly, like just like mafia reference too. Like when we first moved to Providence, there's all these like stories in the paper, like on the news all the time about like bodies being found in development sites and like all these like old mafia guys like going to trial and just the names were kind of funny and like there was just those old mafia movies always cutting someone's finger off like a cigar cutter, so that'd be kind of funny. Yeah, we never actually explained why, but if we ever do like a prequel, we're gonna sneak that in there.
Yeah, I didn't know if like you maybe even had a backstory, like if you kind of like really like built these characters out, because I mean they're all so like interesting and like involved. It's
Oh yeah.
It's really just well done, like just good writing in general, like the whole thing.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate that. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun too. We wanted to make it as like Providence as humanly possible too, and it was like combining the worlds of like the drag scene and like the music scene too. So we snuck in like some horror paint, some Drop Dead, some Human Beast, and
yeah. I know. I saw
you
you guys had posted something about the track listing at some point, and I was looking at it. I was just like, damn, this is a great soundtrack.
And the sad thing is too, there was a lot of other bands that we had in other parts. We had to cut a lot of scenes out of it. So like there would have been even more like local bands in there too. But so that's what we're doing. We're gonna try to sneak in some local stuff if we can too.
That's cool. Cool, man. Hey, well, so I asked you on here to speak about an album that was influential to you. Now, this is kind of weird and multifaceted because I've never been able to speak to somebody who worked on movies yet.
Oh, nice.
I tried to ask a couple of people that I know that work on movies in some, some degree or another, but you're the first. So very curious about the album that you chose and how does that also influence your art as far as making movies is concerned as well?
Sure.
You think that there is some kind of connection there?
I think so.
Okay, so you chose the album Sonic Youth's Experimental Jet Set, Trash, and No Star.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, back from 1994.
Yeah, it's a good year.
Yeah, man, it was a great year for music. I mean, all of the 90s really is kind of like integral for people of our age, I'm sure. Like there was so much good stuff that was coming out around that.
Oh yeah, and I'm still finding stuff to this day that came out in that time period too. That's great.
Okay. I'll be honest with you. I don't know a ton about Sonic Youth. I mean, like I did some research, but because they are such like this, like just, they have this huge history. I kind of wanted I told myself, okay, I'm just going to focus on 1994.
Yeah.
Focus on this year. I'm going to focus on this record because I don't know the back catalog. I'm not a Sonic Youth fan. I've never liked Sonic Youth. Like I've had a really weird relationship with them because I've given them a shot on a number of occasions. I obviously know tons of people that really love them. And, everyone swears by them for the most part that likes them. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll listen to the popular record. I'll listen to this one. I'll listen to that one. And at like different times in my life, and I'm just like, every time I do it, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what people are seeing in this. Like,
No, it happens. There's some bands that just don't fit into your palette. Like I've tried with the Melvins so many times. I just cannot get into that band.
That's another one.
Yeah, can't do it. I've tried.
Like one of their records.
Same. Like
like one of their records is just amazing, and then everything else I'm just like, yeah, it's kind of. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's weird how that happens. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much music out there. It's just like, I mean, I'm not going to say that, somebody's missing out if they don't like this band or if they don't love this band. There's so much more for everyone to just fucking, to dig on. So you're not missing out on anything, I don't think.
No, I'm with you on that.
Well, thank you for being so supportive of me not loving Sonic Youth, but I did listen to this record a lot. I've been listening to it nonstop, basically, just trying to understand it. I think, like that's the beauty about doing this show is kind of like I get to put on a record whether I know it or not, whether I like it or not, and really kind of like dig in and try to find out more about it and try to like get some understanding. So now I asked you about this album and how you feel like it might relate to your filmmaking art as well. Because obviously, I think that there's obviously a connection to like your musical ability and like, some of the music that you've created. How do we relate this? How do we like plug this into movie making?
Yeah, I think there's traditional rock format, which is kind of like most of these little subgenres of rock and pop are based off of like indie rock, noise rock, all these things. There's like a 4/4 format that fits into a lot of songwriting. It's what our ears naturally kind of go to. I think there's also very similar formats to filmmaking as well. Like when we were making Death Drop, we were told multiple times that a horror movie is generally 90 minutes. Movies themselves are generally broken up into 3 acts. You have like a first act, second act, and third act. You also there's like genre rules, and I think one of the things that drove me to Sonic Youth was just like, especially with this album, when I first heard Experimental Jet Set, it was just like the total disregard for tradition, total disregard for structure and following the rules. I mean, there's obviously 4/4 format on that Sonic Youth album. Like there's songs that are like traditional, rock format or punk format. But I think I just love how there's songs that are just literally 2 different riffs and that's it. And it's just gross and weird. The sounds that those guitars are making are disgusting. And this band is sharing the stage with a lot of like traditional rock bands like Nirvana or Breeders and things like that, which are great. I think with movies, it's kind of the same thing. Like I love like John Waters' approach to filmmaking, which was just kind of like there's no rules. I'm doing whatever I want. Like there's just um, his movies were sometimes longer than 90 minutes, or they were combining genres that have never really been combined before, or just they were just doing these gross crazy things, especially when he's working with Divine, that were really fun. So I just like the approach of like just breaking rules and not sticking to tradition, and kind of just making the things that you want to see and not really worrying about your audience so much.
Mm.
But I mean, but at the same time though, if you do want to like sell stuff, you kind of have to like think of an audience in mind. But I think like I like the idea that Sonic Youth had had a fair amount of money to make this album, and I think they kind of made something pretty gross. I'm sure they pissed off a lot of people making this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the ability too of like, like maybe when you reach that point where you have a significant amount of notoriety and you have this clout where they could take that major label money and make some disgusting record,
Yeah,
completely fine with it, because it's just like, well, you paid for it, this is what you want, this is what we do. It's just like and it's not to say that they didn't maybe succumb to some of that pop sensibility stuff too, because I believe from what I was reading that Dirty was the album before this one, right?
oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
And so Dirty was kind of like their most well produced and kind of like I don't know, I guess their attempt at kind of being this like major label like pop band, pop rock.
Yeah.
So and Butch Vig produced it, and he produced this record as well. So that just saying his name alone kind of implies a certain amount of like aesthetic to that sound, which, because I didn't listen to that record, like I may have listened to it in the past, but I didn't listen to it like for this week. So so I can imagine what it was like. I mean, because this album sounds good too. Like what I
Yeah.
read about this album is that they specifically told Butch Vig that they did not want him to use any like processing filters, like noise reduction filters. Like they wanted to keep it as raw as possible. And I don't think that this record is that raw, especially for them. Like from what I know of them and like the music that I've heard them do, I don't think it's their most raw work.
I
But
agree. I don't think it sounds raw either.
no, I mean, I think that it's a fairly mainstream record, really. I mean, like there's certainly weird aspects to it, but especially considering now. I mean, like in '94, okay, maybe it was like ruffling some feathers, mainstream wise, major label wise, but thinking about now, I'm like, it's not really that like weird and strange, I don't think. All right, well, let's get into the record then.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and try to play the first song, Winner's Blues. Pretty much those two parts like you were talking about.
And it's such a weird intro for this record too. Like I feel like just the whole thing is just so dreary, and that song just kind of sets the tone for the rest of the dreariness. It's like,
yeah, isn't that strange? I mean, like I don't have too much to compare it to because, like, as I said, I'm not a big fan of Sonic Youth, so I don't know too many of their records. But some interesting stuff about this song. This was actually a last-minute addition to the album. They so let's see. So during the mixing sessions for Jet Set, Sonic Youth needed to compose a new song for the DGC Rarities compilation. All they had left in the studio was an acoustic guitar and a bit of a drum kit set up. And Sonic Youth ended up finishing 3 songs. One was Winter's Blues, a solo Thurston composition that they liked so much they added to the album's track list. The others were Compilation Blues and Razor Blade.
I had that DGC comp too. That was another one that I think I got from like the BMG catalog. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember hearing that. A good friend of mine actually from around this era had it. He was a huge like grunge fan and was getting everything. He was getting all the B-sides, all the like singles for everybody from all the bands, and he had that one, and that was such a good compilation.
Yeah, there's some like every track on that one is great, and there's even from bands I don't like, they have really good tracks on there.
Yeah, right. Man, it was amazing stuff on there. So I mean, so that's pretty amazing that it was essentially a throwaway. Like it was just kind of really quick, like last minute in the studio, and it makes the opening of the album.
Yeah,
so
that's actually pretty fun.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a little bit of a somber number. So my question for you is do you have any bittersweet feelings releasing a feature film during a pandemic?
Yeah, it's weird. It it definitely screwed us over. So we didn't get to attend any of the festivals. And that's where you do all your networking, and that's when you talk to people and schmooze and do all that fun stuff. And the other problem too is like all the festivals went digital, so nothing's really geolocked. Some of them were. So if you get into a festival in Florida, that means anyone can watch your movie, which is awesome. But like on the festival circuit, it just kind of takes the fun of having it in different cities and being able to travel different cities and talk to different people. And now everyone can see it at once. So yeah, it was kind of a clusterfuck and a mess.
And you miss that vibe of like actually being in a theater, like a packed theater, like with all
Yeah,
the people watching it and feeling their response to it.
and it's such a midnight movie. Like it literally is something that you should be watching with your friends, drinking, like in a theater setting, a drive-in, anything like that. So having to watch that, like everyone watching on a little laptop, just kind of takes the fun out of it too. So it's that makes a lot of sense, and it's super bittersweet. It's just like we spent 5 years making it, and then we finally release it. It's like, oh, just we've released it to the Ethernet, the internet, not really to like a to a theater. So it's kind of disheartening, but we'll see
Yeah.
what this next one does.
Yeah. Right. Well, let's move on to the next song, which everybody knows.
Oh yeah,
This song,
it's such a weird song.
it is weird. Uh, Equally weird is that this is the first and only single off of this album.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, I guess that makes sense, but it's still a weird song. I mean,
It's just odd to me that song made it as a single and on the radio, because it's just such a weird weird song. Lyrics don't make sense, and I love it though.
right. I think it was Kim Gordon. Yeah, Gordon explained that in the song Bull and Heather, it's about using passiveness as a form of rebellion. Like, I'm not going to participate in your male dominated culture, so I'm going to be passive.
Hmm.
Which I don't know if I totally hear that, but I guess I kind of understand it. What do you think as far as like using passiveness as a form of rebellion?
That's a really good question, because yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe like, especially, I guess, like I'm not a lady, but being a lady in the music scene, like I feel like it's so male dominated. A lot of the issues and stuff being sung about just probably just don't resonate with women. So like, they probably just stand there like, fuck this shit, and don't want to participate in it, maybe. I know Kathleen Hanna's in the music video for the song, so maybe there's a message with that too. I mean, she was pivotal, and obviously like the Rock Girl movement, girls in the front, boys in the back. Just getting letting people know that like women have a place in rock and roll and punk too. But I guess that's not really apathy. That's like more like direct action. So I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it makes the lyrics make more sense because, I mean, especially the lethargy that she uses in delivering her lines, like the
Yeah.
lyrics in the song. It's just like that repetitive, that tell me this, tell me that, tell me this, and how it's like so just like lethargic of this, like, oh, tell me that you're burning for me, tell me you can't afford me, tell me all your dirty stories, like, and I guess I see it. It's still
Well,
just
maybe it's just like being apathetic towards like the advancements. Maybe just like, yeah, I've heard it all before.
yeah, I think that's kind of what she was getting at with that. Yeah. Either way, I'm not sure how I feel about the song. It's not. Well, I don't know if it deserves to be a single. I feel like there's better songs on this album, but I'm also more geared towards the heavier rock songs. So like,
Yeah.
this song doesn't really do that. I mean, I can see how it's easy on the ears, but I've been meaning to get into some of the early stuff because like I always figured, the best place to start with a band is typically like their first few records.
Yeah.
And I've never listened to those. I think I may have tried listening to Bad Moon Rising like maybe once or twice,
That's
like not too long ago, but
definitely on there. They're more like noisier, like into things too. But it's good. There's some good songs on there.
hmm.
Sister's got some good songs too. I like that album as well.
Oh, that's another weird fact about this album. All right, so this album was recorded at Sears Sound in New York, and that is the same studio that they recorded Sister in
Oh, nice.
6 years prior. Now, so the studio did move, it relocated, but it was the same studio, and the band supposedly joked, and I'm reading this off of their website. The band supposedly joked that they recorded over the masters for Sister to save tape costs, which sounds silly at first until you really, really crank Jet Set album, and you can actually hear Sister played in its entirety underneath the album.
And that's true.
That's what they said. This is from SonicYouth.com.
And they got Butch Vig. They couldn't buy new reels.
I don't think it's not that they couldn't. They were just skimping and saving the money on the tape. I mean, it kind of like shows how not precious they are about their catalog, really.
Yeah.
Like cataloging it and obviously keeping all of the information like they have here on their website. But as far as they were concerned, like that album was done. That's out. Let's move on to this thing. Hey, let's just use this tape. Why not? Like,
yeah.
Let's just make the new record and we'll just record over this thing. It's already out. Who cares? Like, whatever happens.
It's actually pretty fun. Like the ghost of Sister lives on the experimental Jet Set album. It's pretty fun, actually.
I don't know that album, so I haven't been like trying to listen to it, like trying to listen for it. But supposedly, if you really crank this album, you can hear that album underneath it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. So you've never heard it?
Yeah, maybe I haven't played it loud enough. I'll have to give that a shot. I'm curious now.
Do you have it on vinyl or do you have it on CD?
I do not have it on vinyl, just CD. I need to get it on vinyl.
Okay.
So I brought the CD here tonight. I have this little guy.
Oh, okay. Is that original from '94 or what?
Yeah, oh yeah, this is the '94. We got the BMG catalog sticker on there. Like,
look at that.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's see. Let's get back on topic here. We got to move on to Starfield Road.
See, to me, that's like quintessential Sonic Youth. I wish they got that noisy all the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. Like, I love that like craziness.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I like that. That song is only 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and we never got into the vocals there.
Oh yeah, it's a quickie. It's like just that, and then there's like I think one more riff after that, and then back into that same kind of house.
So I don't know. This song is it's a good song. I like the intensity. I like the music. I like that it's a good rock song. But lyrically, it's nonsense babble. Really.
Yeah, no.
I don't think there's any way to depict these lyrics into meaning anything more than what they say. But yeah, they went out on a limb on the words for this one, I think. So that's it. I don't have any questions for this song because it just doesn't make any sense.
I didn't even know he said butt cheeks in the song.
I know you gotta really have to read along with it, but yeah, he does at the end.
Listen for the butt cheeks.
And it's so weird, like just the way, like, because like I'm not reading it the way that he sings it, but it's just like just how he just kind of slides it in there, and it's just like you kind of hear it. It's like you butt cheeks can't stay, and it's just like, why aren't you even speaking English right? You butt cheeks can't stay. It's like, what you mean? Your butt cheeks can't stay? What are you saying? As I spleen my name? I don't get it.
It's so odd. I wonder what the hell that.
I don't know. I personally prefer Screaming Skull, so that's the next song.
Yeah.
So let's get into that one for a little bit. Would you go there for Pat Smear?
Depends which band he's in.
He's just hanging out. He's just buying records and stuff.
Yeah, I'd go there with Pat Smear. Why not? He looks like fun.
So yeah, I mean, like I think I picked up on this song right away. How it's basically, it seems like it's mostly just like an homage to like the early punk music, and then like an addition to it. So being from Vermont and having a lot of time here on Rhode Island, what is either a fond memory for you or is something you miss about either scene?
I think what do I miss about Burlington? Burlington, the music scene there was super, super friendly. Like it was just, everyone was so sweet. All the local bands are great. We got so many awesome touring bands in, and there was just like it felt like more of like a really tight knit community, and it didn't matter if you were a metalhead or a punk or a noise rock or art kid, whatever the fuck you're doing. It felt like there was more camaraderie there,
Mm.
and I do miss that. And I think that was like one of the like most endearing things and charming things about Burlington back in the day, that music scene there. Um, it's something that's like a fond memory of Providence as well.
Yeah, either, but
Yeah,
yeah, you can let me know about what you feel about Rhode Island too.
I think I like the music scene in Rhode Island. It's definitely it's much more New England than Vermont is, like that New England kind of stereotype. I think when I first moved here, it was super hard to make friends, which is really odd. But then when I made friends here, you make really tight friends, and there is like a little bit of a tight knit community here. But I do feel like there's a lot of like division with genres here too. Like, there's the hardcore kids, the metal scene, and I think there's some the older crowd I feel like blends really well. The younger crowd is still kind of like standoffish and weird. And I wish people were kind of like more community based and had more fun. I think the people just need to let loose a little bit in Providence and Boston too. It's the same thing in Boston. Once you let your guard down and have some fun, and you get everyone on the same page, then you have more of a thriving scene, and more people turn out to shows. I think that's another thing too.
It just takes forever to crack people's friggin' shells around here.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what they're hiding or protecting. I mean,
Plenty of skeletons in closets, I'm sure of that.
that is true too.
Just like, I don't want them to see my bones. Can't say hi to this person.
Yeah.
Might fly out of my mouth.
I'm hoping like with like, since everyone had to pause their lives for a year, that like maybe people will be a little bit more friendlier and, kind of like love life a little bit more. Because when things get taken away, you see how much it can suck. And that, maybe issues you had in the past really aren't as big of a deal as you thought they were. So maybe now people can kind of come together and have more fun and start going to shows and get the fuck off their computers and their phones and, make a vibrant and fun music scene again. I mean, it's wishful thinking. I personally think it'll happen for a little while, but I think it'll go back to normal eventually. But I'm hoping it can sustain longer than it has in the past.
Yeah. But no, that's great aspiration. I hope so.
I hope so too.
I hope it sticks around for a good long time too. I hope it's not fleeting. I hope it's not just for a short period.
Same. I hope it's permanent. I mean, when I first moved to Providence, it was people went out all the time. Like, this was before the days of like, we all had flip phones. We didn't have like little, personal computers on us, and I felt like people had more fun. I mean, like I said, there was that wall of once you get in there, it's like people had more fun. Shows were well attended. There were, there's so much more of a community there. I feel nowadays, like even like before COVID, the last couple of years, like going to shows has been kind of drab and dreary. I think people are all kind of like standoffish, and everyone's standing with their arms crossed and not having fun. So I hope that shit can go away and people can be themselves again, and just enjoy the moment and get out of their houses and have some fun.
Yeah, I guess so. I hope so. Do you
Yeah.
think it might have something to do with our age? Do you think like as we're getting older, like people are kind of like losing that freewheeling spirit about themselves? And
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit. Yeah, especially with people having like families and kids and stuff now too. I can definitely see that. But I do know a lot of people around my age that like they're getting like salty, like, oh, there's no good music anymore. Blah. Oh, there's no good bands, but that's not even true. I mean, if you spend some time looking, there's so much good music at all times, like coming out constantly, and playing in Providence and Boston too. So I think it's just a matter of like getting people. I think people are very comfortable being on their couches right now and watching Netflix series and don't want to make the trek. But then I think you get off your ass and do it. It's not as bad as you think, and you go have some fun. Now that Lyft and Uber exist, like people have no excuse.
yeah. Well, yeah, like we had said. I mean, I hope it happens, man. Looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Yeah, I hope so too. Hope we get some new venues going. I know Dusk is opening up again. Like they're doing like outdoor shows. The outdoor shows are okay. It's not the same. Like you're at a table watching the band. It's kind of weird.
Still distanced. I mean, I went to one of those shows. Like it was just after the election. Mini Beast played outside
Oh yeah.
with Narnia, and who else played that bill?
Oh, I can't remember. I remember that bill though. I wish I went to that. I like Mini Beast.
I think it might have just been them too. I think it was the two of them. But it was weird, like just being outside and like being like so far away from where they were
Yeah.
playing, and like the other people next to you were far away, and where everyone's sitting down and having drinks. It's like it was cool to see them because they're great, but it's not the same vibe.
Oh, not at all.
So Yeah. People are getting vaccinated. Hopefully it's coming soon.
Yeah,
I actually just got tested today.
it's not fun.
Well, it was weird. I mean, I did it was it's so strange. So it's been going around the office. So
No.
I was just like, you know what? I should just go get tested just to see, because you know what? I don't know. I might as well, take the time off if I'm entitled to it anyway.
Yeah.
Be away from everybody else anyway too. Um, it was so strange because it was the drive up thing, and so I felt so weird because it was like, so I drive up and this person comes up to my window and they're all masked up and suited up and all this shit, and they open up this envelope that they left in front on my windshield of my car. And so she opens it up and she like knocks and she verifies who I am, and she's just like, okay, so it's like, I need you to pull your mask down and I'm gonna put this in your nose. And I was just like, she might as well have asked me to pull down my pants.
Yeah.
It's so weird and unnatural. Be like, do you want me to expose my face?
Yeah.
Oh my god, Is
Yeah.
and then she just sticks a Q-tip in both of my nostrils. And I was just like, okay, that's it. It wasn't the deep one. She didn't go like all the way in and like tickle my brain.
Oh, the deep one's terrible. I've had both.
Oh, I don't want that. I was surprised. I was expecting that to happen today, and I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, this is good. I like this.
It's good because like numbers are starting to go down too, and like it's just we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah. Well, so we'll see. I'll know in 24 hours. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
It's a good thing we're here on the computer.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's move on to self-obsessed and sexy. Speaking of the music scene and stuff like that, huh? Schizo action, baby.
create a scene.
Yeah.
I think out of all the songs in the album, this one is the only one I'm not a big fan of. The music I don't mind. His like the vocal mix drives me nuts. That's like I wish they kind of like toned his vocals down. It's a little grating.
Yeah, it seems a little too much. Like
It's a little wacky.
a little tongue in cheeky, like, because like, I think that maybe that was the point. Maybe he wanted the lyrics to come across very clear because it seems to be trying to make a point of exposing or just kind of like calling out these self-obsessed types that are in the music scene, which seems a little like faux pas for the time today, doesn't it? It's like,
It does.
you can't call out ladies being self-obsessed and sexy, huh? Girls, you're supposed to be lifting them up, not suppressing them. But I get it. I mean, so there was some quotes that self-obsessed and sexy is an observation on an anonymous riot girl. Thurston explained that the latter is not about Courtney Love of Hole or Kathleen Hanna of Bikini Kill. It is about being attracted to somebody who's obviously out of control with self-obsession in the high-profile alternative rock world.
That seems like such a small, odd thing to write an entire song about.
Well, I guess at the time, I mean, like, no, he's saying that it's some anonymous riot girl, but obviously somebody in that scene, they're saying, okay, it's not Courtney Love, though seems kind of like it could be pretty accurate. I mean, who else in the scene around this era is this, self-involved and like...
No, you're totally right. It's got to be Courtney Love. Like,
I mean, it fits the description. I feel like it might not be, okay? I mean, there's plenty of other women around this era in some rock bands, but none so much that stand out as much as her.
Yeah.
So whatever. I'm not going to judge. I'm just saying it's a little weird. So now we were kind of touching on this in the last song, but so how do you feel about self-obsession in the music scenes, and do you have any examples that you've witnessed?
So that goes back and forth with me. There's a part of me that really loves insanely arrogant musicians that just don't give a shit and they're doing their own thing. But there's a lack of self-awareness that comes with it that I kind of like. And I like when it's a genuine crazy person. Like 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 the vocalist from like Brian Jonestown Massacre, not my favorite band, but the stories I hear about him are so fucking crazy that like it's endearing. Like he sounds like the biggest piece of shit ever, but like there's also like there's like a element there that I'm all about. Like it's just kind of craziness, or even like directors like Werner Herzog too. Like it's just as long as you're not hurting somebody else or doing something shady, whatever. But like but there's also that other type of self obsession where it's disingenuine. I'm not going to name names, but like being a city like Providence back in the day, we had a lot of like these solo projects coming through, and it just seems so disingenuous to me. Like when you go into shows, you see like a million noise bands and noise projects a day, and some of them are really fucking great, and some of them it's just like you just know it's an ego thing.
Yeah.
If you're like a real deal crazy artist, that's like you have a set vision and a set goal and a set aesthetic, and you're very like into your craft, and you are a little crazy. I'm here for it. But if you're like some fucking schmuck that's trying to create an aesthetic that just seems disingenuous, and like you're or you're in a band and you have like some ego and attitude. Everyone's in a fucking band. There's hundreds and hundreds of musicians. Everyone does projects. Everyone's in a band. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're all people. We're all artists. We're all doing our own thing. I like seeing other people's interpretations of art and artistry and music, or whatever. But like these people up on their pedestals and the ego, that's just gotta take a hike. I've no patience for it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to Bone. I just lost my heart on it. I was getting so excited and then just dropped. Drastic drop right there.
This song, I think, especially shows their like all the no wave influence. Like it almost reminds me of like a Mars or a DNA song in a way, minus the weird like the slow part that comes in. But that first like that weird feral vocal, like just random shouts and screams, and the weird like drum roll, like with all the guitar noise over it. Yeah, this is an interesting song. It's one of the ones that it's just so weird.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, of this album, this is definitely one that stands out to me more.
Yeah.
The drop is intense.
Yeah.
It's a very drastic change. It's not something that you expect, especially as the song is kind of coming in with that same thing that you were mentioning, all the noise and the repetitive beat. I'm trying not to get involved into any spoilers or anything, but so this song, I heard that the scene in Death Drop Gorgeous with the boner was molded from a crew member.
It was.
Elaborate on this at all?
So there's a show called Dragula. It's like kind of like RuPaul's Drag Race, but for like it's more like horror drag. And I was a big fan of the show, and I contacted one of the queens on that show, Victoria Elizabeth Black, who is insanely talented. And on a whim, I was like, "Would you want to do some special effects scenes for this film?" So she came up, and we needed to. At first we were just gonna like buy a dildo or something to use for that scene, but like they didn't look realistic. It was to put it in that scene, like put it into a meat grinder. It would be really difficult to grind up like silicone or rubber. So they had this we made a stunt dick from one of the crew. And we made multiple versions. There was one made out of like an alginate, which is like an algae base. There was another one that was made out of like some kind of weird like silicone stuff too. So there's one that was able to like get mushed up, and there's one that was able to or just look more realistic.
Right. So one that's like more specifically like a hard mold.
Yeah.
Something you could mold of again, like a cast of some sort.
Oh yeah. And the actual stuff coming out of the meat grinder was vegan hot dogs and some fake blood. Which ended up looking a lot grosser than we thought it was going to look. So I was like, I don't know how it's going to look. It was pretty disgusting.
Yeah. My wife didn't like it. She was very, very put off by it. She did comment, and she's not a horror movie fan, so she's not very big into the whole slasher film thing. But
yeah,
she was just like, "Oh my god, like this movie is so gruesome, it's so gory." It was just like, yeah, I mean, it's a horror film, it's a slasher film. I mean,
one of the things that we really were like,
the effects were very, very good. She was impressed by the effects. She thought that they actually looked very gruesome and very realistic.
That's awesome. That's the mission accomplished. Then that's good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that as well. I agree with that statement. But yeah, that scene was pretty interesting. I knew it had to be fake. I knew this guy wasn't hanging out with his boner out.
Oh no, yeah.
But wait, so did you actually grind up the actual mold?
So the one of the molds was too hard to grind up, so we had like I can't remember what it was made out of, but that one got ground up a little bit. But then we started putting the hot dogs and stuff in there, and
Oh, that had a better effect, so you just use that.
yeah. But there was also like the severed penis mold that like when he pulls away from the meat grinder, you see all the like the stringy stuff in the blood. There was like we also had to make like another mold of just like the severed dick.
So you just lopped it off. You're just like,
Pretty much, yeah.
uh,
Which was like for horror movies, like I think a lot of people like the horror community is there for like the gore and the violence and the craziness, but like it's kind of almost not even really a horror movie. It's pretty, it's just like a dark comedy. So we wanted to like try to grab both audiences of having like, you know, the LGBTQ audiences and the drag queen stuff and the John Waters camp and the dark comedy, but then throw in some like really like gruesome horror elements to bring in that audience as well. So that's why we kind of made we wanted our dark parts to be dark, our funny parts to be funny. So kind of like both extremes.
yeah. Oh, it's great, very good. Very cool. Yeah, I don't. That's a realm of the entertainment industry that I really have no idea about.
Same. I know nothing about it. It's a weird world. It's
Yeah, you just kind of like taking it as it comes.
it's just ever changing with everything going on. It's like it's just so weird. Yeah, none of us know what we're doing.
Well, even the whole financing aspect. I mean, you guys did like fundraising, like you like raised like what, like $20,000, or how much did you raise?
Yeah, we raised close, 20,000, some grant. Yeah, so it was a combination of like grants and our own personal money, and then all the fundraising and the crowdsourcing and stuff. So yeah, we did pretty good with that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you guys have figured it out.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, we're getting there.
I mean, it's a great movie. I mean, like it's like a great representation of like a real movie. You know, I mean, like there's been plenty of like local productions and stuff that have happened, but it's just like, you know, you end up watching them and you're like, yeah, it's kind of like a homemade movie.
Oh,
You know, like Death Drop Gorgeous has a much better production quality. You know, it's
thank you.
definitely more. It's more than an amateur film. It's definitely more professional than that.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
Yeah.
It's like upped it a little bit.
Yeah, you guys are doing great.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I want to thank you for coming on here and talking with me.
Oh my God, anytime I had a blast, and I'm honored to be on it. It's awesome.
Thank you, man. I mean, I'm honored to have you because you know, this is fun because we haven't been able to see anybody.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anybody. I don't know what you've been doing.
been a little COVID pod, but not really a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aside from working on the film, obviously you have your core of people that you see probably all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, this is my gig for now, and it's a great way to talk to people that I haven't seen in a long time. So I don't know, man. Best of luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I hope the movie gets finished and on time and on budget and all that shit.
Oh, thank you. If there's any way I can help out the label, I help you out too. Let me know. I'd love to. You know, if you need anything, just let me know.
Sure, man. Thank you. I mean, I can't think of anything right now, but yeah, if I can bounce stuff off of you for sure.
I'd love that.
All right, man. Sounds great.